webinars, and this is produced by the Canadian Wildlife Federation. This is the second in the series, The Build, where we join Anthony Beer and the kids down in the New Carlisle High School. The new crew opens the box, so let's find out a little bit more about what this is about. My name is Damien Foxall, and I'm the Recreation Education Manager at the Canadian Wildlife Federation. Our mission is to conserve and to inspire Canadians to conserve wildlife habitat as part of our days. We're basically your connection to wildlife. And part of that, for me, is getting outdoors on the water. Outdoors on and around the water. And that we provide best practices for anyone on the water, education material and workshops and training for educators so that they can feel comfortable bringing environmental messaging and conservation messaging while they're teaching people and kids outdoors. As part of making connections with nature, there's nothing than getting out and around the water. These sort of connections we make last a lifetime. There are some fantastic examples from young to old, love to be out and about, messing around in boats and just about anything that floats. These sort of connections also give us a connection with our natural heritage. Animals and bee species from large to small. And these are just some of the examples I'm sure that Anthony and the kids will have come across at various stages over the summers. So we've got zooplankton on one hand, and if we look at the end of the scale, we've got in these examples we've got basking sharks, leatherback turtles, and puffins. I would just mention actually that the next Totally Wild webinar next week is actually on puffins. So if anyone's actually interested, tune in again next week. Moving ahead from ours, there's many ways to get out on the water about anything that floats. And this is a fantastic example from another school. Kids basically created a sailing raft from recycled bottles. How cool is that? For me, getting out and about on the water means often racing offshore, and I've raced around the world 9 times. Most again with the Volvo Ocean Race for my 5th edition, and this race is going on right now. It's a professional race. It's the longest event in any sport ever. It's 9 months from start to finish. And this is the Chinese boat, French boat that I joined about a month ago, and we did I joined them for the 5th leg of the race from New Zealand, which we can see in the background here, and we're sailing across the Southern Ocean with the objective of coming into Brazil. That part of the world is an amazing part of the world. We get as far as possible as it is humanly possible to get from land. There really is nothing else around, and we're really totally self-reliant on the boat and on our crew. And this is a really an important part of working on around the water is the crew and the teamwork. We sailed the boat with 8 people, and everyone has their own job. So here we can see a great example. We've got someone driving, someone trimming a sail, someone else in the background there. And you can imagine that down below we've got people sleeping, we've got a navigator, we've got a skipper, and everyone has their own role in terms of sailing the boat, also looking after the boat. And then we have the 9th person, and this is the media man. And these fantastic images are all generated by him and sent ashore by the satellite communication system. So he has to generate images, stills, video, written, and of course audio as well. And that all gets sent off, and that's part of the deliverables, if you like, that we have to send ashore for the Volvo Ocean Race. So I think this is a great parallel to draw with the program that Build, which Anthony and the kids are working on, because they're also explaining to us how that project is being leveraged in many different ways and used many different ways at the school. A little bit more about life on board. Of course, when we're sailing from Auckland to Brazil, you can imagine, don't drop the anchor in the middle of the night. We keep sailing. We're racing day and night, 24 hours a day. And of course, that means shift watches. So we've got people on deck sailing the boat and people down below sleeping, eating, maintaining the boat, navigating, deciding where we're going, getting down the latest weather information. And this is we're looking forward here. This is pretty typical. It's not comfortable. It's all to a bare minimum. There's a lot of equipment down there, and we're looking at the galley where the guys, or the kitchen if you like, And this is where the guys are sitting down, and the two guys are just getting ready to go on deck. They've got their foul weather gear on, and they're just having a hot meal before they get up on deck. And on deck in the Southern Ocean is very cold. We're pretty far south, and when you're out in the water, cold is really very cold. Our race, it was a fifth leg of the race. The race is going on again right now. It sails around the world in a series of legs. Oh, look, my image has come up. My video's not working. But anyway, and like adventures and many plans, it doesn't always go according to the original plan. And this was certainly true for us after 5,000 miles. And nearly 3 weeks at sea. Just before Cape Horn, our rig came down. The mast broke in the middle of the night. And you can imagine how traumatic that is. It's a very dangerous situation that we've prepared for, but we're never really ready for it. We were very lucky; no one got injured, and you can see this in the clear light of the day now. How horrible that looks. We've got rigging and broken rig and mast hanging off the side of the boat. And actually, if you look up at the top of that photo, you can see someone all the way up at that top of that rig. And you can see down the right-hand side here that actually a lot of rigging is missing. So that's a very dangerous situation which we had to assess for quite a few hours before we felt comfortable sending someone up to help to tidy up that mess. And then our next plan was to try to get into land. It was only 100 miles away, so it took us a day and a night. And arrived into this amazing part of the world. So you can imagine, on one hand, horrible disappointment because we've had to abandon this leg of the race, but a new emotion. Really, I mean, we're starting an amazing adventure. We're in Ushuaia in the most southern tip of South America, not that far from the Antarctic Peninsula. This is a place that explorers, that Scott and people have come through on their way down to discover the Antarctic, and explorers and scientists still come through there. So this was an amazing place to pull into, and very good for us because we'd a big job on our hands. If you look at the rigging here, we have to replace and repair all of this. So again, this is part of, we had 2 days to do that before the boat had to leave again on what was going to be now a 2,000-mile delivery from Ushuaia in southern Argentina all the way up to Brazil. And to get there from the Pacific, we went through the Straits of Magellan, through the Beagle Channel, something that had been discovered a long time ago by one of the first big explorers, Magellan, who basically discovered that the world was round. And when he was looking for the Indias coming through from the Atlantic Ocean, found this amazing passage through the Tierra del Fuego and South Chile and Argentina. So that got us into Ushuaia. And this was the backdrop as we repaired the boat over a period of 3 days and 3 nights. And anyone going to afloat in any sort of boat or vessel really needs to know how to maintain their boat, look after it, repair it. And no better way than actually building your own boat. Which brings us to the main point of this story. And I'm going to take you down now to the Gaspé Peninsula, to the Baie de Chaleur, and I think hopefully it is warming up and the ice is finally melted. Last time we were down there, we called them from the Montreal Boat Show, and I think they've made some fantastic progress over the last month and a half. So I'm really looking forward to understanding what's going on down there. Anthony, can you give us can you bring us up to speed?
Yes, thank you, Damien, and thanks for all those incredible of your journeys. And like you mentioned, we're on a journey of our own right now. Last time, yes, when we checked in, it was a lot of snow, and unfortunately, a lot of that snow still remains. But what's great is that the students are remaining positive and hopeful that the snow will soon disappear. Beautiful months when we can get our boat out on the water. We're making some great progress, which we will show you in this webinar. Talk to a few crew members that are building the boat and part of the crew here at the school. So with the project, building the boat and incorporating curriculum in school, it's very essential that we great relationships and partners within the region and our community, and in addition to nationally, which is what we have with Canadian Wildlife Federation and with the, and one key here is the Ecovoil, which is a sailing school in Sumer, about an hour from us. And they will be providing the sailing lessons for the students. They have built their boat, and so that they are enabled to then take that boat that they spent so much time on working on and sailing it. And behind this picture of Damien, who is crouched down, is George LeMay. And he's helping us with the build. He's coming up on a few of our sessions and in with the students, just providing a lot of support and knowledge project, which has been great. The seed of the program started here. This is just outside our classroom window. It's just a 2-minute walk from our school. It doesn't look like this quite yet. We keep for when it does, but this began last year, around June at the end of school, and we were here for our science. So what's great is that we can access the ocean and the beach immediately. And immediately, we're loving being on the beach, out on the water. Let's see what's out there. So what better than to build a sailboat and to take it out and enjoy this beautiful bay that we have, and keep curiosity and the knowledge continuing. So the boat, this is we have the part of the boat, and these are 3 of our crew members after a hard day's work. And as you can see, there's this excitement. And after this hard days of, they have this care for one another, and they bring this great energy to a project, which is good because you need enthusiasm. I want the students to be there because of their interests, whether it's building the boat, whether it's the science experiments, whether it's the photography that we're bringing in. It's all about excitement, passion, and looking out for one another and being part of a crew. As Damien mentioned, everybody has their part, and everybody needs to play that part. And this isn't just a one person. That it's a team and a crew. Preparation is essential to this sort of a program. So here the students are getting the workbenches ready for us to out. So there's all these stages, and we need to be very precise, and we need to prep, and then we need to be patient and persistent with the project. Here's the box that it arrived. So we were very excited to finally cut that box open, and we were amazed at all the parts to this boat. The largest parts. I mean, there's so much to it, and all the students were so curious, like, what could this little piece of wood be used for? How could this be important? So they brought a lot of curiosity to it, which has been great. Organization, huge component of this project. Once we took it out of the box, we needed to go through the inventory and to understand pieces, how many we had, where they're going to be placed, their function. That took a lot of time, but you know, the students that and some importance in that isn't a little box of Lego and quickly put it together. Or if we make a huge mistake, we can just take everything apart. That's not the sitting here. We have delicate parts here that we have to be very thoughtful to, and I'm really thus far with the students' care for it. So here we are laying out the pieces. This is kind of nearing the end of our organizational period from the box. The phase of the project is once we have our pieces, the component of the curriculum which is dealing with measurements and the chemicals that are needed for this boat. We must seal the wood first to like a stain for wood outside, and this is called epoxy. And with the epoxy, you also have a chemical called a hardener. And the students learned about the ratios of the epoxy is to be applied to the hardener. In some cases, a 5-to-1 ratio, 4-to-1, depending on what type of epoxy and hardener you're using. So the students are careful in making sure that when they are measuring, that they were at that mark. With epoxy, it can harden, and it hardens very, very quickly. And also need it to be perfect. And the students were really careful with that, and also very very persistent on looking, and they're double checking and having another person check to make sure it was at the right level. So here we have 2 students doing that. So once the epoxy is mixed in the right ratio for about 60 seconds of stirring it in various directions, you must work quickly, but while working quickly, you can't rush. You can't be sloppy with your work. So the students were great at knowing the time frame we had to work with and then applying it to parts. And here you see 2 members applying the epoxy, and they were really impressed. They were really. We had a batch that hardened very. One of the paintbrushes was still in it. It became almost like a hardened cone or a frozen cone, and very long. And it started to kind of. So they saw. You really do have to work quick. You have to also work very, very also safely. So here it is, the epoxy, which waterproofs the boat. It's essential that we do it in certain stages. So this is the first stage of the epoxy. After you do a layer of epoxy, you then sand it, and you don't sand it right to the original grain again. You just sand out the clumps that may have gathered or the bubbles that may have from the epoxy. So here they are taking their time, sanding it out, and then another coat is applied with another sand, and then we're ready to move on. So they're very careful, and we have our three crew members working here at the Anchor, which is just down the street from our school, which is part of our school board. It's a great facility. We're able to use a large portion of it because it's essential to have the space to be able to work in, and with proper ventilation as well. And they're using the masks to make sure that they're safe. But they were really, it was on them. They thought they looked really cool and like robots, so it's an easy sell. Here we are. I mean, you can see where the sea is right out of our workshop, so they can visualize that this boat will be out on these exact waters. Here we have a crew member with George cutting the copper wire. The copper wire is used to lace in the pieces of various pieces of the wood to put it together. So it's essential that the copper wiring is cut in 2 inches blocks so that you can then weave it into the wood that we drill holes into. So here the students are, 3 students are marking the holes that the copper wiring will go into. Like I said, everything is very precise and there is no margin of error. So here they're marking holes that will be drilled every 4 inches on the sides of the board, interlaced with another board. And the drilling, I was really impressed. Here we have Hannah. She has drilled before, but now she has used a drill. She appreciates the value in it and how to do it properly. We have James here holding a board underneath the board that we're drilling into, because the board that we're drilling into is very thin, and if we don't have a board under there to brace it, so they were very careful in making sure that that didn't happen, and they worked great together. It's been a really good crew thus far. And here we have Jack and Jacob. They are cutting the wire to make sure it's the 2 inches, and they're lacing. So here we have the hull, the beginning of the hull of the and Jack giving a little power through his hands to keep Jacob, give him energy. We had been working quite a long time on the holes and the lacing of the copper wire. But like I said, these guys have been really pulling their weight and working well together. It's been a great crew, and they get to see it from, it was just in a box, and now we're starting to see the beginnings of the hull. And what's great about everybody's, I guess their qualities of what they bring to the project. We have one guy here, Jacob, one of the crews who you'll be hearing from in a second. He likes to crawl under there, get under the boat, almost like a mechanic, and he's able to get the little copper wires up through the holes for the next person to pull them through. So, I, of course, had difficulties crawling under there, and also I don't think at my age my back could hold it as long as Jacob here could. So what I would like to do is, at this point, we have a video with connection issues. We're going to hear from two people who were on this video. Sitting right here with me, I'll introduce them, and they're two crew members of the build, Jacob and Hannah, and you can hear from them of their perspective and their experience with the build and the overall saline water preservation and safe conservation effort that we're making here with Canadian Wildlife Federation. So why don't you scoot in, guys? So we'll start here with Jacob. And Jacob, why don't you tell us so far what your experience has with the build?
Well, fun, I guess.
Well, what's fun about it, Jacob?
You know, you get to do the thing, and then like at the end, it's all like all those hours are like just come to fun.
So all those hours, something.
Yeah,
Like something really big, you know?
yeah.
So something really big. Why don't you scoot in here, Anna? Something really big. So what is this big thing in your mind? What's big about this project and maybe some other projects you've done?
Well, you know, not a lot of kids get to say, you know, we're building a boat.
Yeah, exactly. It is a rare opportunity, and what I've told students as well. I myself have never built a boat, so it's a great learning experience that, you know, adults we can do with the children, and we learn together, which has been a fun part of the project. Have you ever sailed before, Hannah?
Yeah.
You have sailed before. When did you sail?
Last year for my year-end trip in grade 5.
Right, we went sailing, and that's a lot of the students came back from that sailing going, hey, we want to stay on the water. We want to keep doing this. This is a great activity. And how about you? Have you been on boats before?
Yeah, I've been on my dad's jet boat.
Okay. What about a sailboat?
No, never been on one.
No, so this is going to be your first sailboat that you're on.
Yep.
Great. What are some ways that you see that we need to take care of our local environment and our sea that we have here in the Bay de Chaleur? What are some efforts do you think that we need to make as people?
Not littering as much.
Not littering as much? What about becoming more aware of the wildlife? Yeah?
Yeah.
And do you see yourself, can you imagine yourself right now on that sailboat that we're building?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I would trust you to lead me out on that boat. I would. So thanks, Jacob and Hannah, two of the crew members here at NCHS. Thanks, guys.
No problem.
Why don't you say adios?
Adios, amigos.
Adios, amigos.
So there we have two enthusiastic crew members. And what's very impressive is this program. There was a lot of emphasis on high schoolers building the sailboat. We have some high schoolers involved, but you just heard from Jacob and Hannah. They're both in elementary, grade 5, 6. So we're seeing that, you know, even at grade 5 level, they want to be building a boat. There's not this fear of the sea or such a large project, that there's an excitement. And also they are now working with high school students. So we're building together elementary and high school, a connection between the two. Here we are having lunch through all this hard work and you know, dedication. We need some time to relax and look outside. And here we are just taking it all in, the beautiful view that we have here and where we'll have this boat. Not only is it about building the boat and sailing, and we're bringing in curriculum into the schools or into the school. And here we have an elementary class. It's on Earth Day yesterday, looking at whales and how whales are affected with certain environmental components, whether it be pollution, oil spills, and learning about all the different types of whales that there are and what whales that we have in our local area. And they're using different research tools in the classroom of gathering this information, and then what we want them to do is then spread this information to the younger grades. And even share it with the older grades as well, so that there's connection of letting each class know what they're doing that has to do with the marine life and also water preservation and conservation. Without such this project, you need partners, and we've been very grateful to the partners that are on this page, and also all the partners that have pitched in along the way that we don't have here, but we are grateful to everybody involved. It's been a great process thus far, and we look forward to continuing it and putting not just a boat on the water, but we want to put many boats. We would love to have a fleet of boats here in the Bay de Chaleur and start spreading the information around. So thank you very much for seeing us here all the way up in New Carlisle, and the progress we've made in the classroom and in the workshop. And we look forward to the next webinar when you can see even more progress and development amongst the students here at New Carlisle. I'll pass it over to Damien now.
So looks like my video is still not working, but that's okay. Thanks very much, Anthony. It's really fabulous to see not only the progress that you guys have made, but really especially the engagement of everyone around it. And we can see that just, of course, with yourself and the kids, but of course, if we look at the image there and all the different associations, bodies, and sponsors involved, this is actually grown from. It's kind of, I guess, it's a little bit, I'd imagine, be careful what you wish for, right? Because Anthony kicked this idea off, and of course, you get so far then down the line, and then before you know it, it snowballs and off you go. It's fabulous work. It's really a great credit to you all, and we're delighted to be following this throughout the whole, not only the build, but also the all the power programs, activities and curricula that you're going to be following through with, and of course that means getting the boat on the water, getting it out on the bay, and then discovering what's there, through all the different curricula that you have at school. I'd imagine history, geography, natural sciences, mathematics, what's the surface of a sail, what lives under the water in the Bay de Chaleur. So we really look forward to following all those different elements over the next months. The next webinar, Totally Wild webinar, is on, again, 1 o'clock, Wednesday, the 8th of June. And this happens to be Oceans Day. And I think the boat, at that stage, Anthony, you're saying we're going to be pretty close to getting it in the water. And moving on to a new stage as well, where the kids, in conjunction with EcoVoile, which are just down the road from the school, will be learning to sail and actually learning how to be safe and how to have fun on the water. So we really look forward to getting back with you again in a short month away. And please come back and sign up again. Thanks very much, Anthony. This has been a fabulous morning. Okay. So signing off, everyone. This is Totally Wild Webinars, The Build. Bye, everyone.